Yeah, but at least with the cha-cha slide, they told you what to do.
Exactly. Like, why isn't that a thing more often? Tell me what to do.
Yeah, why can't we tell me what to do? That would make it more fun to me.
Because then I never forget. All I have to do is listen. And we're back with another episode of the I'm a Car Chick podcast. It is round 2 today. If you're wondering why, Shasta, you look exactly the same the last time I saw you. That's why. It's round 2 today. But I am bringing the fire to end the day with. It is currently 3:49 in the afternoon, and I had to literally stop this conversation mid-conversation because we were rolling so hot and heavy. I was like, hold on, we got to start recording because this is such good conversation. Someone else has to hear it too. So without further ado, I'm not going to talk too much. I want to introduce you to Meshell Baker. She is the Chief Confidence Igniter and founder and CEO at Meshell Baker Enterprises, LLC, and she is going to bring some fire. She is also going to be a first-time attendee, first-time speaker at the Women in Automotive Conference in August in Nashville. She was a first-time attendee at the social in Dallas, where is actually where we met. And she has just been a huge personality ever since I met her. I will never, ever forget her from the first time I met her, but she has to tell you about her because her story is phenomenal. I read it in her bio on her website, and I was just jaw dropped. How has one person been through so much and just powered through and came through so much better? So without further ado, I'm sorry I've talked so much. Meshell, please go ahead.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Shasta. Delightful to meet you. And yeah, she was right. Our conversation, we almost forgot we were podcasting, right? We were just going on. I'm truly excited for you guys to be a part of this. And I look forward to seeing anyone here who's going to be at the conference in Nashville in August. I'm Chief Confidence Igniter. People ask me about that title. I was introduced once as the fear liberator. And I love that so much. I received an award, and that's what the person who was giving me who was introducing me. And I was like, oh, it just stuck. I wrote it down, and I did not want fear in my title. So I just asked self. I was like, okay, self is to me is our higher power. So God, universe, creator, divine, whatever you want to call it. I call him God. And I was like, how could I say that better? And literally Chief Confidence Igniter. And then, as you know, with confidence, the first time I put it up and I said it and I announced, I was like, am I really, who's the person that says that out loud? Right. So I didn't initially believe it. Now, with our hands, without a doubt, that's it. And how did I get here? It was a challenging upbringing. I didn't come from a background. It was very urban. It was difficult. There was alcoholism in our family. My mother got pregnant with me young, had to get married, divorced, multiple husbands. And one of those husbands was an alcoholic, and there was a lot of alcoholic guys in our household. So I always tell people, do math. Like, alcoholic men and little girls don't always mix. In my household, it didn't do well, and it ended up shredding my confidence. But I had 3 businesses when I was 13. I was this entrepreneurial kid, baking, sewing, and babysitting. I was like a kid whisperer. Wonder why I don't have a house full of kids, right? And I didn't have any adults around who could mentor me or guide me or even say, you look at my kid who's doing good. Let me go find help for her. Let me go find a program to put her in. None of that transpired because they were somewhere cussing and drinking and carrying on, right? And so I just gave up because everybody just kept taking money from me and nobody was applauding me. There was no accolades. There was no affirmation. It was just take. And so I gave in my environment, barely graduated high school, and ended up incarcerated when I was 20. Just fell into the crowds around and fell into what everyone else was doing. Fortunate that experience early in life, I was headed there. So I'm very blessed that it happened early enough where I could change the trajectory of my life. And what I learned quickly was I didn't want to go back. So I made a quick assessment. Who doesn't go back? People who have jobs. Okay, go get a job. Well, who keeps jobs? The people who the boss likes. Well, I didn't care if you liked me because that just seemed like too much work. So I also knew and learned from that doing good work keeps you there. So that's what I became. I became the go-to person. I learned quickly whatever my supervisor or manager needed, I was the person that they either went to get it or I gave it to them before they asked for it. And that way I became somebody that was necessary, right? And that also led to opportunity. So when you're that person, they're thinking highly of you. So all of this stuff, it just kept falling in, right? You know, I always tell excellence will open every door you want, right? Stop worrying about what you didn't get or what people didn't give you. All that bitterness and anger, it takes away from your ability to just be consistent in delivering excellence. Excellence will always win. It may take longer. It wins and it lasts longer as well. I found mentors, good people. I went back to college. I learned to speak and articulate quite well as I am doing now. And it has truly changed my life. And that is, you know, some of the core principles of what I teach people is one of my biggest challenges in life was I had a fiance who passed away. It was devastating. And the only guy I ever wanted to marry was Sutton. He got sick and 2.5 months later, he was gone. And I, right after him, wanted to be gone as well. So I went through this suicidal ideation period. And when I came out of that period, I remember asking God, why would you, like in the life that I've had, and I finally had one person who was my person who adored me, like literally this guy determines to drink your bathwater. I had that dude, right? And then he was gone. I was like, why would you do that? He said, well, he didn't leave. He said, what he gave you is in you. And as long as you give it away, you'll always have it. And so that's who I became. It's someone who always gave people the ability to see that life was worth living. And I just do that in a way where I ignite people's confidence. So this is, and I love it. And it's really, you know, my cup overflows. Anytime I'm in lack, it's because anytime I don't feel well, if I'm not physically sick, if I'm feeling down, depressed, overwhelmed, it's because I'm looking at what I don't have. And as soon as I pause and remember all that I have, life changes. And that's what most people are struggling with right now is looking at how hard it is and how overwhelmed they are, how frustrated they are, how, you know, unfair it is. And you know what? It's you are literally not that far away from living the amazing life you want and deserve.
I want to sit there for a second because I've had that exact conversation with somebody this week who was sitting in that spot of, you know, of looking at the bad things that have happened to them and focusing on the negatives and refusing to see the positives. How would you kind of redirect that person if you were to give them advice or to try to get them to shift that mindset to be more positively focused? Like, where would you have them start to not just, well, look at this and look at that and look at, you know, you've got beautiful kids. Like, what's the thing that actually finally clicks for them?
Yes. I mean, great question. So the biggest challenge with when somebody is in a very negative, bad place, that is not something that was created in the moment. Right. So where you currently exist, where we all currently exist in this point in time is the repetition of past thoughts. So thinking that you could tell somebody or say, like what most people say, you know, what you ought to do, what you need to do, you know, what you should, like that one, all of that does is create that admonishes a person. It actually creates resistance and resentment. As soon as you talk to a person that's going through a struggle and you tell them what they already know what they ought to need to should be doing. They've probably tried it a million times, right? But they're frustrated and overwhelmed. So just hearing them is the biggest thing you can do. Listening without talking, listening without advice is so needed in this world, right? Because I remember the last time I said something to somebody, the first thing they do is, oh, you know, I remember when that happened to me, or they tell you it was like, oh, dear God, shut up, right? So yeah, just hearing them and then asking them, what do you want to do? Let them talk. Everybody knows their answer. It's just that most people aren't given a platform or a format to formulate their answer. They're inundated with what's going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm. That's solid.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Just listen to them. Ask a couple of follow-up questions. Like, let them talk for a while. Think about it. We're all adults. I have a coach so that I get to talk, because without my coach, I don't get to talk. When I've had a hard, difficult time, I relocated 3.5 years ago to help my family, and me and my mother almost started fighting. Like, we were literally so argumentative and hot and heavy. We were getting ready to fight because I moved here to help my elderly parents with my disabled sister, and they had nothing in place. And I run a business, right? And they just assumed I was going to come here and do everything. I'm like, I don't know why two of y'all, you and my stepdad, are fully retired on pensions and don't have to work. And this one's got disability. I'm the only one that needs to work for 11, but y'all thought I was going to do everything.
This episode is brought to you by Epic BDC, your #1 outsourced BDC solution. Check out more about Epic BDC by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting epicbdc.com.
I'm like, where's the math in that, right? But that's what they literally thought. And so it was very frustrating. So at that point, I was like, okay, this is not coaching. This is counseling, because it was dredging up some childhood stuff. Right? And that's what people like, your willingness. If you got a job, you have insurance, you can get some counseling, right? Start there. Go somewhere and talk to someone that just listens to you. Right? Most people, and that's reflection. You cannot make change if you don't reflect, because what you're doing is, you want something to be different. You must first assess where you are. And without reflection, you can't assess where you are.
That is very true. And a lot of times just talking through it is therapeutic in so many ways. Like, even if the person you're talking to can't give you advice, like, just getting it out there. And they say that a lot of times, like, if you're really mad at somebody, just write them a letter and burn it, and then you'll feel so much better. A lot of times just getting it out of your body is just so much healthier. Keeping it in is so toxic.
Oh my God. Like, I love that you said writing a letter. That's powerful. Like, I don't write letters anymore. You know what I do instead of writing? I do a voice memo.
There you go.
I'll just literally rant on a voice memo, and then I'm good.
I need to try that sometimes. Hold on to it. Go back to
it's too bad. And you can't write as fast as you're angry, right?
True.
That's one of the things I found. I get even frustrated because I can't write as fast as I'm angry. So voice memo is perfect, because I can just say everything I'm feeling, and then I'm done. And it's like,
I said what I needed to say.
Yeah, and you delete it.
It's so needed.
God forbid they find it when you're gone. Like, oh, she was a very nasty person.
This too.
Right? Chief Igniter. Yeah, really?
Whose confidence was she igniting?
Exactly.
So you're speaking at Women in Automotive, and your title is Igniting Resilient Confidence, and that's going to be specific to women in automotive. And I, for whatever reason, didn't write down the second half of that, which is the competitive edge for women in automotive.
Yes.
What are we missing as women in automotive when it comes to confidence and using that as a competitive edge?
Yeah. And that's the thing that's interesting. I really don't believe that anyone is missing anything. What I do believe is that we tend to move so fast, and what we have to do, need to do, ought to do, and should do, that we bypass. So if there was a miss, it's the quickest thing I could say is pausing. Most people do not have intentional pauses and breathers in their day. It's impossible for you to be productive just going all day long.
Yeah.
The most successful, when you start looking at the habits and the schedules and the routines of the most successful people that have ever existed, all of them have morning routines. All of them have where they take regular breaks to just reflect, right? All of them, right, have made incredible mistakes that they've rebounded from, learn and leverage from the experiences, and then not only learn and leverage and build something amazing, use that mistake to teach other people to bypass the mistake. So none of that happens without your intentional pauses, breathers, and breaks.
That's so important. And that I felt like a little bit you were speaking to me and you may not have even realized it, because I'm that person that will go 90 to nothing and not give myself breaks and get to the end of the day and be like, oh my God, where did the day go? And it's suddenly 4:00 and I don't think I've gone to the bathroom all day or had a bite to eat or made sure that I've even taken a drink of something to make sure my mouth is wet. I will neglect myself so fast to make sure that everybody else and the business and everything is taken care of. And it's I don't want to say it's a problem. It is a little bit of a problem, but it's I don't know who we're in competition with, if it's ourselves or just making sure that we've got to always not put ourselves first. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it varies because it's going to be different based on the individual and what they're thinking or they're coming from and their perspective and their prior experiences and, all of those things. And it's the nature of the culture we live in that just keeps moving. It's going faster. Like technology has gotten faster, change has gotten faster, and we have created a society that constantly believes that they have to keep up. They have to catch up. They're behind. And so with that mindset, you won't take a break. Because if you take a break, you're going to immediately be behind. So, and is what's actually really weird is it's counterintuitive to what creates high levels of success. You cannot sustain high levels of success without breaks, without pauses, without breathers. It's impossible.
That makes sense. I see so many different, my Facebook feed is filled with, car dealers and general managers and stuff like that. And they're always talking about the hustle and no days off and all of this stuff. And, I think about how much better I feel on Mondays after being able to refresh and rest over the weekend and just have those 2 days to just breathe and sleep just a little. Even if it's 30 minutes longer, which with how early the sun's coming up, that's about all I'm getting. But we need that time. And, wherever we're fitting it in, if it's in the middle of the day and you're, right before I came on here, I just went with the boss and did a few laps around the parking lot just to get some vitamin D and
exactly
some fresh air. And so we just got to get it where we can and make sure that you get out of your chair, and especially for people who work from home. And I feel so deeply for those people because I would get lost and never move from that seat and would never get outside or leave my house and would never interact with people. And I can't imagine how it is for those people that work from home all the time. I at least need to interact with some people.
Yeah. And what I'll say, one of the things that came to mind when you're talking about go, 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 go. Come on, we're in automotive. What happens to an engine that goes nonstop?
Break down.
Exactly. So it's the same is true, like for a human being, right? And the same is true for what happens to an engine that's sedentary for too long, right?
Exactly.
So they are both, an engine just like us is meant to move, right? And in incremental ways. It's also meant to have pauses and breaks. It's got to refuel. You got to have checkups and all the things. So it's very similar to what the automotive industry is, renowned for creating these vehicles and that allow us to, do incredible things. So we are the same way too. So I just don't even know. And that's one of and what it leads to is it leads to burnout. When you don't take break, this is why what happens is, and the people become afraid and they don't know why they are so on edge, why they are short tempered. And then that comes guilt. Like if you're, woman in automotive and you have a family and a husband and kids and all of that, and you're going all day, it is literally impossible for you to be loving at the end of the day. This is what I keep telling people. They are not watching. Your body will only allow you to do so much if you do not take care of it. Just like anything with an engine in it and a motor in it, it can only give you what you give it. The better you treat it, the better results you get from it. And the same is true for us. Mm-hmm. Right? I tell people, you cannot do a job you don't like, you can't stand, that overwhelms you and drains you and think you're going to be loving. You spend too many of your waking hours in that position of being frustrated, overwhelmed, disappointed and angry, and think that the few hours you have left, that you're going to all of a sudden magically come out of that and be loving. No, as soon as you wake up, you're thinking about that job. So as you're getting ready for work, the people that you claim to be doing this job for, that you love, they're interacting with the resentful person.
Yep.
Because you're thinking about the fact that you have to go to this job you can't stand, or deal with a boss you don't like, right? So sometimes you're not able to, and once you come to this awareness, you're not able to immediately change jobs or get a new boss, which the only thing you can change is how you actually, the story you tell yourself about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How you're interfacing with the situation. And that's what resilience is your ability to still believe that favorable outcomes and amazing things will happen for you, regardless of where you currently exist, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of where you are. You still believe all is well.
Yeah. And
all will be well.
It all comes back to, the stuff that we were talking about offline with mindset and the way that you view things and how you perceive your situation.
Yes. And that's, yep. You were going to say something?
It all flows together. I mean, with, mindset goes right into goals and vision. And, this episode is brought to you by SCP Agency, your one-stop shop for organic social media. Check them out by clicking the link in the show notes or visit scpagency.com. Where you are depends on where you see yourself. There's probably a better way to phrase that, but like we were talking offline about, my personal situation with debt. And, I could sit here and say, oh, well, it's because the economy is crap, or it's because of president stuff, or all of this stuff. But no, I spent more money than I had, and now I'm in debt, and I can't afford to get my roof replaced after a hailstorm came and destroyed it. And so we were talking about how we talk to our kids about money and stuff like that, and try to prepare them to better be faced with, financial decisions when they come of age and stuff like that. But mindset plays such a big part in that, and how we face our financial problems as a family, as a couple. And other people may not be versed enough in, matters of the mind to be able to handle that.
Right. And when you say other people, less than what I think it's 3, maybe even 5% don't do anything that is mindful. That's why it's so easy to succeed in this world, because success is actually built on mindset. Success is not effort. Success has little to do with what you actually do. It has more to do with who you're being, right? Because success is difficult. The more successful a person is, the more failure, disappointment, setbacks, naysayer, critics, right? All of that, delays, denials, the more of that they have faced. And without your resilience, right? Without the mindset of resilience, you will give up. And that's what most people do. Mm-hmm. Right. So it all starts with our mind. If you cannot see it in your mind's eye, if you cannot believing with unwavering confidence, you will not create it.
Those are huge words. So if I'm a person who, doesn't have someone in my life to spark confidence in me, and I, wasn't raised like that, but I know that I want more, I want better. Where do I look to start? Where do I, do I read a book? Do I make a list? Where do I go?
And so everything you said, all of that and more, the best investment you can make in life is in yourself. Period. If you're not invested in you, nobody else will. And that's what most of our population, I'm going to speak for Americans, most of them don't even read books after high school or college or whatever. They stop investing in themselves, right? If people think because they're grown, they don't need accountability. They don't need coaching. They don't need guidance, right? All of that is a fallacy. The most successful people on the planet are flocked with wisdom. They have lawyers, they have accountants, they have coaches, they have therapists, they have trainers, right? But and the average American has nobody. They're just sitting there trying to figure it out and struggling instead of going and getting help, saying, I want to be a millionaire. I can't figure it out. If you've never been a millionaire, how are you going to sit there and figure it out on your own? Have you read a book on becoming a millionaire? Are you listening to podcasts? That's where you start, right? Start somewhere where it's a minimal investment. You can go to a library and get a book free. Most libraries have it where you can log in and you can start listening to audiobooks for free from your local library, right? Podcasts are free, right? There's a ton of like go on meetup.com or one of these apps, and there's a lot of places you can go to free networking meetings. It begins with deciding who do you like. You have to have a range goal. So if you don't have this goal or this vision of who you're becoming, none of this makes sense. It just looks like hard work.
Yeah.
It just looks like a lot of stuff to do. And without that, it still is, even when you have the vision, it will feel that way. And it's a process, right? I tell people all the time, success is just a person's ability to be relentless in their consistent, persistent repetition. Right? Because what happens is when you're consistent, persistent in your repetition, you will change who you are. How you look at things will change. It will stop being hard. It will just be part of the process, right? It just is.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Many people who are struggling, you will listen to them. I want this. And then they'll immediately tell you, like when I ask people, well, what do you want? They'll tell me, and they will spend more time talking about why they can't have it or the past or whatever. They will spend maybe 5-10% of the time talking about what they want. And the rest of it, they will just erode. They'll kill it.
It's that but. The but will get them every time.
Yeah.
They don't even realize it. They're so conditioned to it that they don't even realize they do it.
Right. Nobody realizes that without this work, without like the work that I'm talking about, without the investment in yourself, it's impossible. If people are just going through life and they're doing what they've always done. And many people think they've changed because they live a different place, they're a different age, they work at a different company. And most people don't realize they are literally the same person as they've always been. Without new input, you cannot be a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Because your mind is what creates who you are, and your mind is just it's the most supercomputer that exists.
Exactly.
And all it does is calculate the input. So that's what I say, when they say, when we were kids, they say birds of a feather flock together. That's because those conversations that you have with the people you hang around is the input that your mind is computing. So what it does is it starts to normalize. So if you are a person who's a good person and you hang around criminals, well, if you hang around criminals long enough, listen to their conversation, engage in conversation with them, your mind is going to normalize doing criminal activity. It's going to stop believing that it's not a bad thing because it's hearing it all the time. It normalizes it. So eventually when you have that chance where you say, I don't do that kind of stuff, eventually your mind is going to go, well, it's not so bad because it's heard it said. Like you've been in conversation all this time with people who say it's not so bad. So eventually you're going to talk to yourself the same way. And self-talk is everything.
That's more important than the way anybody else talks to you.
Yeah. Yeah, who are you in conversation most with your entire life?
Definitely myself.
Yourself. And that's why it's so important. I tell people, if your internal conversation isn't right, like me and my chick in my head, right? The chick in my head, me and me. Oh, it's beautiful. Like we laugh, we have a good time. It's jokes all the time. It was not always that way. I used to like I said, it was a point where my internal conversation was so bad. I thought about ending my life. Right. And that's what I said. You cannot get away from you. If you don't like what you're hearing inside of yourself, all bets off, because everywhere you go, there you are. That's the magic of what I do. When I work with clients and coaching groups, that's what I transform.
But you're also accountable to that person too.
I don't understand. Tell me more about that.
Like the person in your head that you can't escape from, you're accountable to that person too. You yourself, essentially, you're accountable to always be the best person that you can be for yourself, I'm talking as if there's two different people. Like
Yeah. No, I get it.
When you're on your good days and your bad days, it's hard to verbalize that, but you know, the voice in your head and the external you, and when you're having your good days, when you're having your bad days, and how each of you is speaking to each other. You know, that when you're talking to the voice in your head, or how the conversations are between the two, and how that relationship is. It's so hard to verbalize that without sounding like I'm a schizophrenic.
No, it makes absolute sense. So let me say that maybe I can help with saying that you have conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. So consciously, you and I are having a conversation. This is only 10% of our brain. 90% of your brain is unconscious, and that's what controls you. Everybody thinks they're in control, like they're saying, "Oh, I want this, I need this." Now, if the inside voice in you is constantly reminding you of what you can't do, or telling you need a break, or talking about people, or gossiping, right, or thinking it's unfair, you will not do the things you need to do. Us consciously are not in control. The chick in your head is in control. So she must be about it, right? And most people have not invested in her. They spent no time reading and doing. Like, the only way you can change her is she has to be fed. Like, it comes in, right? Whatever our outcomes in our life were internalized by what we spoke, what we read, what we believe, what we repeatedly say day in, day out. So the only way to change it is you must start taking new intake. That's why I'm saying, when you ask me about people who are frustrated, the current place you live in time is the culmination of the past. So it's not it will never change immediately.
You've made it this far, and I have to say thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to rate the show, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and of course on all social media channels. Light it up.
It takes time. And in order to keep it's the consistency. That's the power. That's why you look at athletes. Athletes are a beautiful example. Many of them started young, right? But what athletes do is they do repetition. They don't think win or lose. They just think success. Right. So success for them is in the game. If I lose a game, I didn't lose. If the team lost, or if I didn't win, it's not a failure. It's just, it is, because I'm going to play again. Mm-hmm. Until they retire, they're going to play again. Like when Stephen Curry takes a shot, he is not thinking, am I going to make the shot? The shot is already made because he's done 10,000 shots in practice. He's done the repetition. So his mind can't conceive not making the shot. Even if he misses the shot, his mind does not conceive missing the shot. Right. That's what most people miss. They have not put in place a repetitive practice of being confident. Confidence is built up over time. You cannot do confidence on demand if you've never done anything to input confidence. You will not have resilience on demand if you're not doing activities to build resilience. It's not on demand, it's built. And then it's on reserve for when you need it.
And you know what? As you said that and brought it to sports, it's one of those things that makes me realize what sets people like LeBron James and Tom Brady levels ahead of everybody else, because they had the confidence. They knew, I'm going to make this shot. I'm going to throw this ball and it's going to go no matter what. And LeBron James is one of the most hated men, or most controversial men in basketball, because of his GOAT status. And same thing with Tom Brady, of his GOAT status. And it's because of that level of confidence. And I'm just now putting that together, that's why they're controversial. Mm-hmm. It's that confidence.
Yeah. So it's this whole principle. People who are successful, like top performers, like, I had a background of sales. So I did 20 years in corporate sales before I went in business for myself. And so I still do sales kickoff meetings and coach sales teams and speak to sales teams. And they always ask me about being a top seller. And I'm like, a top seller isn't trying to sell. A top seller already decided that they're a top seller. Like, so they walk around with a different attitude. When they're having a sales conversation, the person's buying. And even if they don't buy, so what? I'm going to have another conversation tomorrow, right? And I can still follow up with them in a year, months, whatever. They don't take it as a loss. There's no rejection for them. It just didn't go that way that time. And there's always another time. Mm-hmm. right? And that's where most of the population gets stuck in the loss. They get stuck in the failure. They get stuck in the rejection. They get stuck like, I had somebody recently said they were trying to use an app that I mentioned to them, and they reached out to me and they were like, oh my God, it's so hard. It's not working. I was like, oh my God, sorry to hear that. How many times, what did you do? They had tried it 3 times. I'm like, oh, you're counting it as a loss after, right? Right? Do you know the rule of 10,000? Right? It takes 10,000 iterations or attempts to be a master.
Yeah.
So once I knew that and once I understood that, why would I even count? I'm going to sit there and keep checking until I get to 10,000.
Right.
Just understand that as long as I keep doing it, I will always become a master. That's what most people are incapable of doing. That's what most of the population is. That, I can say this, they can hear it, and they'll go say, oh, I'm going to do that. I promise you, you will not be able to do that on your own, because if you could do it on your own, you would have done it.
That's true. And that's powerful to those salespeople who are out there struggling. I'm seeing it on LinkedIn right now. I'm seeing a lot of people who are either in sales positions or, sales manager roles who are looking for new jobs. And it's tough to see right now that there's a shift within, I don't know if it's just the automotive industry, or I don't know if it's happening everywhere, but I know my feed is heavy automotive, to see those people who are struggling like that. What's a good stepping point for them to start anew?
I mean, with anyone that is you must decide what you want it to be. You must get clear on where, and if everything, so if I'm in the middle of a struggle, or if things didn't go my way, or I was let go, right? So sit still. That's getting quiet and saying, all right now I feel like, oh, this is too hard. I failed, or I can't believe I'm embarrassed, right? I mean, it's a bunch of feelings that you're going through. Allow yourself to feel them, journal about them. Now, once you get clear on that, now say, what would success look like? And get clear on that. And no matter what you go through, you must hold the thought that you're going to create that. And that's where most people can't get. They're like, oh my God, I interviewed for all these jobs and nobody's hiring me. And you spin whatever you speak about, you bring about. So most of the population talks about the struggle and the pain instead of constantly talking about, yeah, you know what? Today was another day. And I know tomorrow, I know I'm going to succeed.
Yep.
I wake up every day and say, today's the day I win. Now, do you think I win every day?
Yes.
No, but the one thing I know to be true, I win every day because I say it every day, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Yeah, I have days where I get tired. I say it every day because if I don't say it, it definitely won't come true.
Right.
And when I do say it, the probability of it coming true increases 1,000-fold. Mm-hmm. We are what we repeatedly say. So why wouldn't I repeatedly say I win every day? Today is the day I get the phone call. Today is the day I get the client. Today is the day I get the email. Oh my God, today is the day.
I love that.
Every single day.
I love that. That's so perfect.
And yeah. And then most people get it I applied for an adjunct position. One of my greatest dreams is to teach at a college, right? And I went through the process and did everything and and then they told me they selected someone else. And I was like, okay, I guess next application, right? I didn't even feel bad. I was just like, yeah, all right. So guess what? I truly believe that everything is working in my favor. So there's a reason God, universe, creator doesn't want me to work there because he got something better. I get to work somewhere better. Yep. And I'm looking forward to when that shows up, and it's going to be way, way better, right? So that's a mindset that most people cannot embody because they'll spend time talking about, oh my God, I can't believe. And the person told me I just had to, they'll talk about the failure. Let it go.
Exactly. And that it's funny because that feeds in so much with what I'm planning on speaking at Women in Automotive about. And it goes back to a verse in the Bible. And I want to say, I can't even quote what scripture it is off the top of my head. But it's, you have not because you ask not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Matthew 7:7. It's ask, seek, and knock, which is actually an acronym for ask. Ask, seek, and knock. Matthew 7:7-8. Yes.
You have to speak it clearly.
Yes.
It's so simple and yet so easily missed by so many. And once I heard it so many times before I absorbed it of you have not because you ask not and was like, whoa, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Like, I think I should have all these things, but I'm not very clearly saying I want these things, or that I deserve these things, or that I'm going to have these things, or that I already do have them. Those are big.
Yes.
Big principles of life.
Very big principles of life.
Speaking things into existence is huge. And we could go on and on and on about the laws of attraction, but they are so powerful. There's a whole book on the laws of attraction, and I don't know if it's a movie or something that goes along with it. There's a lady's voice I can think of, and I don't know if it's just the audible that goes with it. Her voice is very significant.
The Secret.
Yeah. But that is one of the more powerful books I've ever read.
Yeah, The Secret is the book that became very popular on the law of attraction. It launched a lot of people's. And she has other books. The other one of my favorites she has is The Power. So I tell people, like, once you find something, go down a rabbit hole, start looking for more and understanding. Like when people stop, right? Learning is the most powerful gift that you have, especially in a society that we live in where change is the constant and change has sped up. You must master learning, unlearning, and relearning. And that's where people get stuck because they're, talk about I can't believe this happened. You're stuck, right? Or, this isn't the way it used to be. You're stuck. Or they shouldn't have done that. You're stuck. It doesn't matter. Like the circumstance or incident literally does not matter. The only thing that matters is how you interface with it. That's all that matters.
It's true.
That's where your power resides. Never out. It's not external. It's always internal.
You're never actually stuck.
Yeah, you're never actually stuck. And when you capture that for yourself, when you start to generate your own power, it will have you repel. You will quickly begin to assess people who talk about it, who are not, like we're saying, is the be about it, don't talk about it. You'll quickly be able to assess people who talk about it are not actually in it. Like they're not doing it. There's a difference between talking about all of this and then actually living it. Because when you live it, it comes out of you differently, very differently. Like I'm a certain person. I meet people and we know, like we literally will say a couple of words to each other and we just almost start laughing and smiling because there's a soul connection. Because if you're not regularly tapping into your soul, that's your limitless source. And that's what connects you to the other people.
Did you know that there's a monthly newsletter where you can keep in touch with everything the I'm a Car Chick podcast is up to? There is. Check out the show notes below, and you can also follow us on all social media and stay in tune with whatever we're up to.
It's powerful. And that's why people are having so much frustration, because you could like read somebody's soul real quick and know, this is a big old no. Yeah. This will be nothing but a nightmare. Because as an adult, you've had enough nightmares and now your soul is reminding you, why would you go do that again?
Hard pass.
Right? Like hard pass. Yeah. Like I met a guy at a place recently and we were standing there and he was attractive and handsome. We had a great conversation and he was smooth and all of these things. And I was like, oh, look at God blessing me with all this cuteness. Well, a third person walked up to us and started talking and sharing with us. And he had a book in his hand. I was like, oh, that's an interesting book, that title. And I can't remember the title. And he started talking about the book and his experience. And the guy that I thought was so attractive started telling the person he was wrong. And I was like, wait, what just happened? He was like, no, you're wrong. That's a lie. That's not the truth. No. And he just, anything the guy said, he cut him down. And periodically I would jump in and go, because I'm a confidence igniter, right? So listening to this was tearing my heart up. So eventually the conversation left and the guy was like, yeah, no, I don't need to talk to you no more.
What on earth?
Could you imagine what my relationship would be like with this man?
Oh my goodness. It wouldn't last.
Like it felt like I had a whole cheerleading group out there with red flags going, run, girl, run.
Oh my goodness.
But again, when you're not tapped into who you are and what you're creating, all you see is man, like, cause you want the relationship. So you become, it's an immaturity, right? This is what I want. And it feels good because he's handsome, he's attracted to me, and you follow that, right? Instead of being mature enough to know this is a distraction.
Yep.
This is not the law of attraction bringing you a gift. This is the distraction, right? If you're a church person, that's the devil, right? Trying to block your blessing, as they say. But yes, it is a distraction from your path to which your greatness into the things that are actually far better for you.
We got to keep an eye out for those and keep the eyes on the prize.
Right, exactly. And that's why this work is so powerful and so beneficial to investing in yourself, because you will be able to see those like clearly. It's not even difficult, right? But it's the practice, right? As we say, there's principles that are in place that when you start practicing these principles, you become impenetrable. Right? It is absolutely amazing what starts happening.
I love that word. And especially when talking about your mindset and your soul and you ain't getting through this. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Other than getting to speak at Women in Automotive in August, what are you most excited about right now?
Oh my goodness. Like so much. Like I'm working right now with the developer to create a platform that it's been in my vision for years, to create a tool that people could engage with that would help them to establish this mindset practices that I've talked about from stage.
Nice.
And it's something that I've journaled about. I've envisioned it. And someone reached out to me that I've known for years, but all of a sudden she was reading one of my newsletters and sparked an idea and got on my calendar. And it was just like, I had an idea. Like, why don't we? And I was like, oh my God, right? So yeah, that's coming. And we're really looking to launch it in next month.
Wow.
So we've been talking about it, and yeah, so it's time, right? I've been carrying this baby for a while, right? I've been in gestation for years. Right. So I'm excited for this. Yes, that's one of my greatest excitements. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking forward. I've been applying for some TEDx talks. So I'm looking forward to, so I'm speaking that I do a TEDx this year. So I've been submitting applications. So things like that, where I know where I get the opportunity to share these principles that when audiences, like I use a tech tool. So I have an average of like 97, 98%, feedback on my presentations. I know from all the hundreds of testimonials that I have, the impact and the fact that people continue to tell me years later, right? I constantly get texts and emails and DMs for people who are like telling me years later that they've been practicing these things. And I'm like, that's why I stopped getting frustrated, because as the buildup has gone, it's like, I don't have a right. This is what I was given from God to give the world. And, so I needed to master my own mindset so I would stop faltering and doubting and just keep moving forward in the gifting. And that's where we all are. Everyone has a gift to give, but getting out of our own way is the biggest challenge.
Oh God. And it's such an understatement. Like, it sounds so much easier than it is to get out of your own way. Yeah. A lot of times you don't realize you're in your own way.
Yep, exactly. And that's the nature of humanity, right? It's the nature of humanity.
We're the problem.
Yeah. What are you excited about besides speaking at the Automotive Summit?
Man. I mean, that's pretty exciting getting to do that. I'll also be podcasting there.
Oh, cool.
But right before that, I will be hosting a BDC immersion event in New Jersey in July. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot like on the books. Like I've kept the schedule pretty wide open this year, which I'm feeling good about. So I'm mostly just looking forward to Women in Automotive. Like that's my number one thing I'm focused on right now.
Nice.
It's going to be very exciting. The cool thing about it this year is getting to be on the little bit of the inside and see the scheduling and planning and everything that goes into it. And man, there is so much work that goes into it. There is all hands on deck, and everybody's working to make sure that it is absolutely enjoyable for everybody there, and that it has all of the love in it, and that, I mean, it's going to be a really good one this year. I feel really good about it.
Yay! Yeah, I'm excited. My first one in Nashville. I've been in Nashville before, so I'm really.
Are you gonna get all like dressed up, bring the boots and the hat?
Well, I'm from Texas, so I got to come down with my boots.
I'm debating. I don't have boots. I don't have a hat, but I'm like, God, do I get it just to wear it one time? Like, it doesn't seem like a smart move, but maybe I feel like I can get away with like a vest.
Yeah, a vest would work, right?
I could rewear a vest. I would never rewear boots other than for like Halloween.
Yes, I have boots, so I can wear those. I don't do hats because of these are, locks, and they generally are piled so high on my head when I speak that you couldn't get a hat on top of it anyway. So I don't do hats. But yes, I will definitely have the boots.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I think I've heard something about like someone trying to put together something for line dancing. I don't know. I don't know for sure if it's happening, but I've heard they're trying for it. So I don't know how to line dance, but I'll be there for it. I'll learn.
Yeah, but they have instructors. So generally, if they bring out line dancing, they'll have somebody there that'll guide you. And it's not easy, right? I'm going to tell you, like the first time I was like, oh my God, this is right. Wow. Right. So, the second time I went, I made sure I was sober. Right. Right. And I had a better interface with it. But yeah, you definitely don't want to be drinking too much when you're trying to learn the line dance.
That makes sense. I grew up in a skating rink, so I know like the 2000s dances, like the Cupid Shuffle and the Cha-Cha Slide, stuff like that. But I don't know, like, I can't think, like the Electric Slide. I don't know that one. Like some of the like 90s ones, like the country dances. So but
at least with the Cha-Cha Slide, they told you what to do.
Exactly. Like, why isn't that a thing more often? Tell me what to do.
Why can't we tell me what to do? That would make it more fun to me.
Because then I never forget. All I have to do is listen.
Exactly.
Better than Simon Says.
Exactly.
Meshell, if someone wants to connect with you and learn more or just chat with you and see how you can help them, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way is, I would say, go to my website, and you can go on there, and, on the pages, there's links where you can get on my calendar, or LinkedIn as well. If you go to my profile on LinkedIn, you can get on my calendar, or just email me at hello@meshellbaker.com. And I'll respond to it. Right. So, and there's no question that is like too difficult. Right. You've heard a lot of my background. If you listen to the opening, I don't do shame. You can't embarrass me. You can't shame me. You don't make me, I don't feel bad. To me, it's a waste of energy, and a waste of emotions. So, and I'm really, really empathetic to other people's struggle. I get it. We all have crosses to bear, and I'm just here to help you bear it.
I love that. And I think that's going to be super helpful for so many people out there. And of course, all of her contact info will be in the show notes linked below. So if you want to reach out to her, take your method of reaching out, whether that's the website or her LinkedIn, or even email. She is going to be super easy to reach. I think we did most of our chatting on LinkedIn before we were talking via email. So
yeah, I love email. And so LinkedIn DMs, the longest it will take me is generally like, 48 hours. But I will get back to you. And that's where we met at an event, and then we started DMing before we ever got on email.
Yeah. And it was really quickly after too. Awesome. I appreciate you coming on so much today. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see your session at Women in Automotive and be a part of that, and hopefully take a ton of notes, because I'm a student myself and want to learn more and just be a part of everything you're doing.
Yeah, same here. I look forward to your session as well and seeing you at the conference.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been delightful.
Thank you so much. Guys, be sure to connect with Meshell on LinkedIn and anywhere that you can. I know that she is on YouTube, so be sure to follow her there as well and check out her website. I will, of course, put it in the show notes below. Check you next time, guys.